What is up, everybody? We are back, and we're here to talk about the John Deere Classic. Rocket Mortgage didn't go as I had hoped. That's all right. It's been a good year overall, and kind of excited for this week. The field is a little better than I thought it would be. I mean, Patrick Cantlay did end up withdrawing. Cam Davis withdrew. Taylor Montgomery withdrew. But we still have Sungjae. We got Spieth. We got, Straka, Aaron Rai. There's at least some names in the field this week. So let's talk about the course. It's going to be TPC Deer Run, par 71, just under 7,300 yards. It's one of those courses where birdies are going to be made in bunches, right? The fairways are pretty wide. They're pretty easy to hit. The greens are small, but very easy to hit. The green regulation rate last year was 72%. And there's just a ton of wedges. Over 45% of approach shots can be hit from less than 150 yards. So you're going to have a lot of wedges in your hand. And that is why the GIR rate is so high. It's also why putting matters a lot here. We've seen Steve Stricker, Zach Johnson kind of dominate this event over the last 20 years. We've seen a couple good ball strikers like Lucas Glover win here. But for the most part, looking at total driving, looking at approach play, especially with wedges, looking at strokes game putting, around the green, I mean, I'm not completely ignoring it, but not, bumping it up like I do at a difficult course. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of the course. There's not a ton of water. It's only in play on 3 of the holes. The greens are bent grass. 25% of approach shots from 200 plus yards. So you do get a decent amount of long irons as well. And the winning score should be in the 20 to 25 under par range. The last 5 have been minus 21, minus 21, minus 19, minus 21, minus 27. Michael Kim, that was definitely a strange one. He had missed like 13 straight cuts coming into the event and then just ran away with it. That was pretty wild. But we do see some long shot winners here every once in a while, just because of the birdie fest and the nature of it turning into a putting contest. So let's get into the model. This week I have, pretty mediocre weights to off the tee, split it up between off the tee and total driving. 16% to stroke gain approach. This expected column here takes into account how far golfers are expected to be hitting their approach shots from, and then kind of looks at their strokes gain numbers from those different buckets. So I'm expecting Glover to be number 1 in strokes gain approach this week, followed by Phillips, Straka, Putnam, and Ryder. It doesn't mean that's how it's going to play out, but just guys that are the best from the ranges that they're expected to hit the ball in this week. Strokes gain around the green, really low weight, bumped up putting. This is one of the highest I've had for putting all year. Again, the greens are bent grass. If you do want to bump up, grass type, you can do that. Birdie or better at 3%, bogey avoidance at 3%. I'm thinking about bumping up bogey avoidance because it has been a predictor for success here over the years. And I think it's just because everyone's going to be making birdies. I mean, it's such an easy course that it kind of becomes a game of who can avoid the mistakes. They kind of outlast everyone else here. Courses 3 or 4%. I've got stroke gain on easy and very easy courses over the last 2 years. If you want to use this as an input for your model, JT Poston, Eric Cole, Davis Thompson, Sungjae, and Ben Griffin lead the way there. There's going to be some crossover here with courses with easy green regulation rate. So just courses where everyone's hitting a lot of greens in regulation. You have Poston, Cole, Thompson, Sungjae, and Putnam. So very similar list there. Got those each at 4%. Then we have the form broken down into short-term, mid-term, long-term. Again, if you are an RG Premium member, you can download this model. You can use it for notes. You can go through and customize the weights to your liking. Let's just say you're just looking for guys that are in good form. You can bump up the good form to 25, and then just do like a 5 and a 5 or something like that. And then the total weight will be over here. So you want to make sure this ends up being 100%. If you just want to chase birdie makers, you can bump up birdie or better percentage. If you just want to chase guys that are good on approach or bogey avoidance or just good course history guys, whatever it may be that you're looking for this week, you can make that a big weight in your model if you are an RG Premium member. We'd love to have you. If not, appreciate you watching this video each week. Let's get to the player pool. So Spieth is the most expensive, but he is not rating out all that well for me. He's 14th overall in the model. I mean, he's got 1 top 25 in his last 13 starts. The approach game's been pretty bad. I mean, he's won here twice, but he hasn't played here since 2015, like right when he first came on tour. I do think this was his first win on tour, so maybe he's got some vibes going. maybe it's a bounce back week for him. He's just been so bad that it's just hard to trust him right now, especially at the most expensive and, mid-20s ownership. The guys that I really like, Davis Thompson, Matt McNeely. So Thompson, back-to-back top 10 finishes. He's been gaining strokes in all facets, made the cut here last year. McNeely, back-to-back top 20s here. He hasn't missed a cut since January. And if you look at his approach numbers, they are turning in the right direction. He's gained at least 1.6 strokes on approach in 4 of his last 6. So he's got that going for him. The rest of his game's been on point all year. Then you have Sungjae, who, has got 4 top 10s in his last 6 starts. He seems like he makes a lot of sense. I definitely prefer Sungjae over Spieth if you are paying up. You have Straka, who won here last year, who's also, been a top 10 machine this year. Aaron Rai coming off of a T2 finish last week. He's one of the best iron players in the field. He's never played this event, but still got to think it's a pretty good course for him because he does hit a lot of fairways. The big question for him is a putter, but it's been getting a little bit better. So as you can see, last 12 months, 79, 67, 64. So he's trending a little bit with the short game, and he's one of the best at avoiding bogeys. So if you are looking at that like me, he might be a guy that you want to play. Keith Mitchell was kind of the chalk that busted last week. Felt like a perfect course fit for him. He's just never been good in Detroit. I don't know what it is. Missed a cut on the numbers, so we can forgive him for that. The question is just whether he can putt well enough. I mean, he's a much worse putter than Aaron Rai, and he's got a worse short game. But, I mean, the ball striking numbers are still good. He still gained like 3.5 strokes on approach last week. So if he's going to be 10%, I'll be overweight there. Poston's one of my favorite plays of the week. I'm going to be betting McNeely and Poston outright. So if you want to join me on those, feel free to do so. He's number 1 in the field in easy courses, easy green regulation courses. He's won here before. He went wire to wire here in 2022. Followed it up with the T6 last year. Glover's form is kind of tailed off, but one was a Memorial, really difficult course. One was the U.S. Open, really difficult course. And then last time he teed it up, he did gain over 3 strokes on approach. So I think he's kind of turning it around. I can forgive him for 2, bad performances on difficult courses. He clearly likes this place, 3 top 10s in his last 4 starts. So I do like Glover quite a bit. Danny McCarthy, the approach game has been really bad, but he gained on approach last time out, does have back-to-back top 6s here. No issue with him. He's one of the best putters in the field, second, first, 6th over the 4 different putting metrics that I'm looking at. Mark Hubbard, so, I mean, he's making a ton of cuts, 17 straight made cuts, 1 top 20 during that entire run. So he's making cuts and then kind of falling apart on the weekend. He does have good course history here. This is a weaker field than he's used to. So I don't mind Hubbard at 8,400, especially if he's going to be lower owned. Probably not going to have a bunch of Jason Day. He's lost off the tee in 4 straight. He's lost on approach in 4 straight. Ben Griffin has never played here, but I do like the course fit for him. If you look at his numbers, he's top 20 in this field in approach and putting and bogey avoidance. So those are kind of 3 things that I really like this week. So I do think it sets up well for Ben Griffin. He almost won in Canada, a month ago. So I think this is a good spot for him. Never know what to do with Doug Ginn. When I like him, he misses the cut. Like last week, when I don't, he plays well. I don't know. He's a good ball striker that's got some decent finishes here. He also has a couple missed cuts here. No strong take. The model is always pretty high on Doug Ginn. Spieth, again, I've already given my thoughts there. If I'm MME in it, I'm probably getting like 10% of Spieth, so I'm going to be well into the field, but I still want a little bit because I do think he has win equity in this field for sure. Luke Clan, so amateur, played great last week, T10. I think he gained over 7 strokes ball striking. The thing is, if he's going to get all the steam, I mean, all the podcasts are probably going to be talking about him, then I'm going to fade him. If he gets into double digits, I'm fine fading. If he stays in the single digits, I'm fine being overweight. It's kind of one of those things where he's going to have a wide range of outcomes in his first few PGA Tour starts. So I'm fine just going the opposite way of the field when it comes to these younger guys. Hisatsume has been playing really well. He's kind of gaining strokes everywhere. He's gained 6.1 strokes on approach in his last 2 starts alone. Kevin Yu, so T6 here last year, one of the best drivers with the ball in the field. Then look at his approach play. I mean, he's 5th over the last 6 months, 5th over the last 3 months. And I think I have it here. So yeah, he's gained 19 strokes on approach in his last 5 events. So this could be a good Kevin Yu course. He's going to have to putt well in order to win or contend. But, I mean, the ball striking alone could carry him to a pretty high finish. I think it's a great Lee Hodges bounce back. Missed the cut last week. But the irons and the putter have both been good. So I am perfectly fine with that. Let's see if there's anyone else in the value range. I just had my plumber pull up, so I'm gonna have to go let him in. My sink is leaking all over the place. But okay, so I do like Silverman. I like Justin Lower. Lower's a guy that played well last week. He's gaining a bunch of strokes with the short game, and historically he's been, able to gain 5+ strokes on approach. Troy Merritt always plays well in Detroit. T17 here last year. Chen Kim has gained ball striking in 4 straight, so I really like that. He's missed the cut in all of those events, so I think that's going to keep his ownership very low. I also like Lashley and Sig a little bit. And that'll do it. So best of luck this week at the John Deere Classic. We only got a couple weeks until the Open Championship. Cannot wait for that. Best of luck, everybody. See you next week.